Hi, my name is John Doherty, and I want to welcome you to the Introduction to the .NET Framework class at NJIT. My email address is johndoherty68@gmail.com. I encourage you to use that to get a hold of me anytime you have a question, or use the Moodle group, which you've already been introduced to. So for the class, it's going to be 30 hours. 30 hours is split up between lectures and assignments. We're going to cover a lot of topics in the first class. There are going to be 2 follow-up classes which you can take or not. In the first class, we're going to be covering the introduction to .NET and the history of .NET. We're also going to go over how C# compares to other languages such as Java. We're going to get right into installing Visual Studio, which is Microsoft's integrated development environment for software development. We're going to do some basic work with WinForms, which is the Windows programming model for .NET. Programs like Office, Excel, Word, those are WinForms. They run right on your PC. We're going to get into some basic object-oriented programming. C# and the .NET framework are built on object-oriented programming, so we have to have a bit of a background in that in order to get where we're going. But object-oriented programming is extremely popular, and it's really the bedrock of modern programming, so it'll come in handy everywhere. We'll do some unit testing and documentation, as well as source code control. Those are a bit advanced as topics go. A lot of programmers don't really get into unit testing and documentation or into source code control, but I really think that those are the kind of things that you should learn early and you should do as soon as possible in your software development career, because they will come in extremely handy. Most developers, myself included, were only introduced to them when something went wrong that could have been fixed had they been using unit testing or source code control. So, as a favor, and as somebody who learned the hard way, I'd like to see you avoid that, and we'll get you started with that as soon as we can. And we'll do some basic ASP.NET. ASP.NET is the web development environment for .NET. And we'll also do some web services. Web services differ a little bit from ASP.NET. They overlap in some areas, and they are different in some areas, and we'll go into how that works. For the class, we're going to be using the PowerPoint slides similar to these. There will be some every week. They will be the basis for the recorded lectures, one of which you're listening to now, and we're also going to be using some books. There's 2 main books and 2 supplementary books. The first set of books is centered on the C# language itself. C# is arguably the main programming language of the .NET framework, and we'll go into the distinctions behind that a little bit later. C# is extremely popular, and it's a very well-regarded language inside of Microsoft and out. The main book for it is going to be Microsoft Visual C# 2013, Step by Step. That's the primary book. I think it's a great book to go through. The step-by-step books are very good at introducing a simple concept and then giving you some hands-on work right away, and then building on the simple concept until you have something pretty great at the end of a chapter and at the end of a book. On the other side of the coin, there is Headfirst C#, the 3rd edition. Some people don't like the Headfirst books, some people do. I find you either love them or you hate them. They're kind of like being taught software development via comic book or from your wacky friend. Some people like them, like I said. I think it's not really fit to be the main book for the class, but the Headfirst books, if you like them, you'll learn a lot. So I'm throwing it in there. These will be up on Moodle. They're part of your fee, so don't worry about that. They'll be there in PDF form. As far as the other books, I have Visual Studio 2013 Professional as the primary book for Visual Studio, and Visual Studio Condensed as the secondary book. Visual Studio 2013 Professional is a great book for learning how to use the best parts of Visual Studio. The condensed book is optional. It's sort of a flyover. It'll give you the majority of topics. You may find the condensed book works a little bit better for you, but the Visual Studio 2013 book is the one that we're going to be doing any readings out of. So about me, I've been a software developer for over 20 years. I've done relational databases. I started out with Visual Basic 6 and ASP, which predates .NET by a number of years. done quite a bit of .NET and ASP.NET, a lot of JavaScript, a lot of work in the Microsoft servers, SQL Server, BizTalk, SharePoint. Good bit of service-oriented architecture, which we'll touch on a little bit when we get to web services. I've lectured and taught on .NET, service-oriented architecture, object-oriented design, corporate subjects in the IT world, including intellectual property, valuation for mergers and acquisitions, a little bit of everything. So as far as the class goes, I encourage you to ask questions and add any helpful information. If you have a question, you're welcome to put it on Moodle. You're also welcome to send it to me directly via email. I have a day job, but I try and get to questions as quickly as I can. It may take me a few days. Sometimes I do get lost while trying to solve a problem, so don't think you're ever nagging me if you send me an email twice. That's perfectly okay.